Yes, I understand perfectly. You're asking for a motivational script outline in 6 strong, psychology-driven sections tailored for a faceless YouTube video with the title, "He Rejected You. Now he can't stop thinking about you." The script will be deep, motivational, and based on real psychological triggers that inspire confidence, self-respect, and transformation after rejection. The language will be simple, emotional, and powerful, crafted to connect directly with the viewer's inner strength. White heavy checkmark script outline. He rejected you. Now he can't stop thinking about you. 1. Rejection isn't the end. It's the beginning of your power. Rejection hurts. It breaks your pride. But it's also a turning point. When someone walks away, it forces you to look within. This isn't about losing them. It's about finding you. Pain awakens strength you forgot you had. 2. Stop chasing. Start rising. You don't need closure. You don't need their approval. What you need is your power back. The moment you stop chasing, you start healing. Focus on your growth. Let your silence speak louder than any text ever could. 3. Transformation is the ultimate clap back. Get to work on yourself. Mentally, emotionally, physically. Become the version of you that doesn't beg. Confidence is magnetic. When you shoot your energy, people feel it, even from miles away. That's when they start to miss you. 4. The psychology of regret, why he's thinking about you now. We always want what we can't have. You became the one that got away. You became unpredictable, distant, strong, and now his mind is chasing what his ego once dismissed. True. The silence, the distance, it created curiosity and regret. 5. Your absence became his mirror. Your silence made him face himself. Without you there to validate him, he had to sit with his choices. Now he wonders, oh, what if he replays your smile, your strength, your peace? And he realizes he didn't reject you. He lost you. 6. The real win. You moved on and glowed up. He thinks about you now, but you've already let go. You didn't wait. You grew. Your success is your closure. Your peace is your revenge. You didn't just get over him. You became someone unforgettable. Let me know when you're ready, and I'll write the full motivational script based on this outline. Rejection feels like a punch in the chest. It leaves you breathless. It makes you question your worth. You start asking yourself, what did I do wrong? But here's the truth most people forget. Rejection doesn't mean you weren't enough. It means they didn't see your value. And that's not your failure. That's their limitation. You were never supposed to shrink yourself just to be accepted. You were meant to rise. You were meant to rise. You were meant to grow through this. Let the pain sharpen you, not break you. Because the second you stop chasing the wrong person, you start attracting the right version of yourself. That's the turning point. That's the moment where everything shifts, not outside, but within you. You start showing up differently. You begin to carry yourself with quiet confidence. You don't beg for love, you become it. You stop waiting for someone to call, and instead you answer your own needs. You invest in yourself, mindset, body, peace. You let your healing speak for itself. And here's the part they never expect. Your silence becomes louder than your presence ever was. You're no longer looking back. And that silence, that space, it begins to haunt him. He remembers the version of you he once had access to. But now you've changed. Now he's stuck thinking about the energy he took for granted, the warmth he dismissed, the support he never appreciated, and it drives him mad. Because you didn't retaliate, you didn't scream, you didn't chase. You simply disappeared into growth, into peace. And the mind always returns to unfinished stories. He rejected you thinking he had the power. But now, without even trying, you've taken it back. Quietly, powerfully, completely. And now, the one who left is the one who can't stop thinking. Not because you begged, but because you didn't. He starts watching you from a distance now. Maybe through your social media. Maybe just in his mind. And suddenly, everything he overlooked becomes everything he can't stop thinking of. The moment you stand in the mirror, eyes swollen, heart aching, and say, I'm not staying here. That's when you begin. The truth is, some people are sent into your life to teach you how much more you deserve. And sometimes, that lesson comes dressed as rejection. That's the gift buried beneath the pain. So don't run from it. Feel it. Own it. But don't get stuck in it. Because what's waiting on the other side of this pain is a version of you so powerful, so focused, so unshakable, they wouldn't recognize you if they tried. If you can hold on, if you can push through this chapter, if you can stop chasing what's left and start choosing what's next, you'll come out on the other side with a clarity that's untouchable. You'll stop asking why they walked away and start wondering why you ever begged them to stay. Because healing has a strange way of rewiring the story. One day, the memory of them will fade, but the strength you gained in losing them, that stays forever. Keep watching. What you're going to feel next will remind you of the power you've had all along. Something shifts when you stop waiting for them to come back. When you stop checking your phone. When you stop replaying conversations that can't be changed. That moment, when you decide to stop chasing, is when you take your power back. You're no longer feeding a story that no longer serves you. You're done trying to prove your worth to someone who didn't recognize it when it was right in front of them. That shift might feel quiet, but it's massive. You begin to reclaim your time, your mind, your energy. You stop showing up for someone who wouldn't have noticed if you disappeared. You begin showing up for yourself. And at first, it's lonely. The silence is loud. The space feels unfamiliar. But soon, you'll see that silence is an emptiness. It's clarity. It's a space where you remember who you are without needing someone else to define it for you. You start choosing your peace over their attention, your growth over their comfort, your standards over your feelings. That's not cold. That's self-respect. The moment you stop giving them access to your energy, you begin building something stronger within you. You start working on your goals, not their opinions. You start building a future that doesn't revolve around being accepted, but around being unstoppable. That's when everything starts aligning. Not because you forced it, but because you stopped forcing yourself to fit into places that were never meant for you. People feel it when your energy changes, when your focus shifts, when you stop chasing, it creates a void they didn't expect. And suddenly, they feel your absence in ways they never noticed your presence. But this journey is no longer about them. It's about you, healing, rising, choosing, not reacting out of pain, but responding from power. That's how you truly begin to win. When you start working on yourself, something powerful happens. You begin to rise in ways they never expected. You stop being the person who waits, who explains, who hopes. Instead, you become the person who executes, who grows, who glows, who glows. Not to prove a point, not to get revenge, but because deep inside you know you deserve better than what you're settling for. Every time you show up for yourself, you're rewriting the story. You're telling your mind that you're the priority now. The gym becomes your therapy. Your goals become your fuel, and your peace becomes non-negotiable. You walk differently. You speak with clarity. You move with purpose. And even though you're still healing, that light inside you starts to shine again, brighter, stronger, untouchable. And the people who once ignored you start to notice. Not because you're screaming for attention, but because your energy no longer depends on their presence. You've stopped reacting and started evolving. You became silent, focused, driven. And that silence, that focus, it speaks volumes. Oh, it says, I'm no longer available for anything that costs me my self-worth. You begin to see yourself differently. You're no longer someone who was rejected. You're someone who survived it. And more than that, you used it. You used the pain, the silence, the abandonment as a ladder. And every step you take now as a result of that moment, you were told you weren't enough. But instead of believing it, you broke the narrative. You chose to become more, not less. That's what transformation looks like. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's quiet, disciplined, and deeply personal. The best part? It's undeniable. People feel it when you walk in the room. They see it in your eyes. They hear it in your voice. That's the version of you that no one can reject again. Because this time, you finally accepted yourself. There's a reason he can't stop thinking about you now. It's not just what you look like. It's the energy you used to bring. The way you cared. The way you listened without judgment. The way you made him feel seen in a world that's always too distracted. That kind of presence doesn't fade quietly. It lingers. It stays, especially when it's gone. Psychology tells us something simple but powerful. People want what they feel slipping away. When you pulled back, when you stopped calling, when you stopped checking in, something shifted in his mind. At first, he may have felt relief, space, control, but over time, that space turned into emptiness. That control turned into curiosity, and eventually, it turned into regret. He's starting to notice your absence in ways he never appreciated your presence. And it bothers him because you're not bitter. You're not out there proving anything. You're just glowing, living, elevating. That's what people crave but can't control. Someone who can walk away without looking back. Someone who knows their value so deeply that they never beg to be seen. Scarcity creates obsession. The moment you became unavailable, his brain couldn't stop replaying moments you gave freely before. But now those moments are out of reach. The validation he once got from you, gone. The comfort of your attention, silent. And in that silence, his thoughts get louder. That's how the mind works. It remembers what it can't access. It fixates on what it didn't understand until it was too late. But this time, you're not waiting for him to get it. You're not standing at the door hoping he wakes up. You've moved. You've evolved. And now, you're not the same person who got rejected. You're the person who turned pain into purpose. He sees that now. And the more you grow, the more he thinks about you. Not because of what you did to be remembered, but because of what you became when he forgot. He didn't expect your silence to be this loud. He thought you would reach out. He thought you'd try to fix things like before. But this time, you disappeared into peace. You didn't explain. You didn't argue. You just stopped. And that kind of silence, it's not weak, it's powerful. Because silence isn't the absence of feeling. It's the presence of strength. It shows that you finally understood what you deserve. He thought he had time, thought he could walk away, and you'd still be there. But your silence became a mirror he couldn't look away from. It reflected every choice he made. Every moment he took you for granted. Every time he ignored your effort. And now, without your voice calming his chaos, he's forced to sit with the noise he used to run from. He scrolls through your photos. He replays the sound of your laugh. He wonders who has your attention now. That's the power of walking away with grace. You didn't scream. You didn't chase. You healed. You elevated. And he's not used to that. He's used to people begging. He's used to drama, noise, attention. But you gave him none of it. You gave him silence. And that silence became unforgettable. Now every room he enters, he looks for someone like you. But no one feels the same. Because you didn't just offer love, you offered peace. And peace is rare. Your absence became a lesson. Not because you tried to teach him anything, but because you stopped trying altogether. That's what made the difference. You became the one that got away, not because you ran, but because you grew. You didn't try to prove you were enough. You proved it by how you carried yourself after he walked away. That's what he can't stop thinking about. Not the goodbye, but the way you let him go without losing yourself. He thinks about you now, but not in the way he expected. It's not about missing someone to talk to. It's deeper than that. It's the realization that you became everything he didn't recognize when he had the chance. You grew in silence. You didn't seek revenge. You didn't seek revenge. You didn't try to replace him to feel worthy. You simply moved on and became someone no one can ignore. That's the real win. You didn't just recover, you transformed. You turned heartbreak into healing, rejection into redirection, and silence into power. You're not the same. You're wiser, calmer, more grounded. And that kind of energy isn't something people forget. It stays with them. Not because you forced it, but because it's rare. You're not attached to the past anymore. You're not replaying old memories, hoping they feel what you felt. You're not waiting for closure. You already gave it to yourself. And the moment you stopped needing anything from him, you took back everything. Your time, your peace, your control. That's when the balance shifted. That's when he started to feel the weight of what he lost. Now you live in a space where your energy is protected. Where your heart isn't handed out freely, but given only to those who earn it. You walk with a quiet power. You smile with peace that doesn't depend on anyone else. That's the kind of growth that turns heads. That's the kind of transformation that people remember. He can't stop thinking about you because you became the person he never saw coming. The person who didn't just survive the rejection, but used it as a launch pad. You rose with grace, with discipline, with self-respect, and now the story has flipped. You're not wondering if he'll come back. He's wondering how he let you go. And that's the most powerful place you can ever be, free, focused, and completely unbothered. Great. If you need help with the next part, editing, or anything else, just let me know. Happy to keep supporting your channel's success. Now that you've reclaimed your power, you're living proof that rejection is not a dead end. It's a doorway. It's a doorway to becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more aligned with who you truly are. You didn't just get over the pain. You used it to fuel your transformation. And that transformation is magnetic. It pulls success, respect, and peace into your life naturally, without force or desperation. When you stopped needing him, you started needing yourself. That's the secret that so many miss. You became your own source of love and validation. You stopped searching for it in places that never had it to give, and that made all the difference. Because the moment you are whole, complete, and confident alone, nobody else's opinion can shake you. That's when you become untouchable. People begin to notice the change in you. Not because you're louder or more dramatic, but because you radiate a quiet confidence that demands respect. That's the kind of energy that turns heads and makes people wonder what happened to the person they once ignored. They can't stop thinking about you because you're no longer a chapter in their story. You're the whole new book they don't understand yet. This growth isn't about proving anything to anyone else. It's about honoring your journey. It's about showing up every day for yourself, even when it's hard. When you do that, you create a life that's no longer defined by rejection or heartbreak, but by resilience and purpose. That's the kind of life that inspires others. That's the kind of life that changes everything. So remember, the real power is not in making someone regret losing you. It's in making yourself unstoppable. It's in becoming so full of life, so sure of your worth, that no one else's rejection can ever dim your light again. That's where true freedom lives. The moment you fully step into your own power, you realize something profound. Your worth isn't tied to anyone's opinion or presence. It's built from within, unshakable and constant. You no longer wait for validation from someone who walked away. Instead, you give yourself the approval and love that was missing all along. This shift changes everything because when you are truly whole on your own, no rejection can ever break you again. You learn to love the silence that once felt so empty. That silence becomes your sanctuary, a place where you grow, reflect, and rebuild. You stop fearing being alone because you understand solitude isn't loneliness. It's freedom. It's clarity. It's where your best self begins to emerge. And in that space, you're no longer desperate to fill the void with someone else's attention. You fill it with your own strength. This is the kind of power that makes people remember you long after you're gone. It's the power of self-respect and self-love. The kind that refuses to settle for less than you deserve. When you carry that energy, it's impossible to be forgotten. You become a standard, not an option. And that changes the game entirely. No matter what happened, no matter who rejected you, the truth remains you were never less. You were never less than enough. The rejection was never about your value. It was about their inability to see it. Once you realize this, you stop carrying the weight of someone else's failure to appreciate you. Instead, you rise lighter, stronger, and more determined than ever. You become unstoppable because your power doesn't depend on others. It comes from within, fueled by every challenge you overcame. That's the place where true freedom and confidence live. A place where rejection no longer defines you, but refines you into someone who can never be forgotten. The true victory is not in making someone regret losing you. The real win is in how you choose to live after rejection. It's in the way you refuse to let a no or a goodbye stop your progress. When you rise above the pain, when you turn your heartbreak into your strength, you become a force no one can ignore. That force is built on self-respect, on resilience, and on the unshakable belief that you deserve better. You learn that your value is not negotiable. You no longer wait for permission to be happy, successful, or loved. You claim it for yourself with every step you take forward. You don't look back because you know your future is brighter than your past. The person who rejected you might think they have power, but true power lies in your hands. The power to heal, to grow, and to become unstoppable. Your story becomes one of transformation, not of loss. And that transformation is magnetic. It draws people in, not because you're trying to impress, but because you radiate authenticity. You carry a quiet confidence that says, I am enough, I am whole, and I am moving forward. That energy cannot be faked or forced. It is earned through the battles you fought within yourself. When rejection tried to dim your light, you refused to let it win. Instead, you fueled your fire. You became someone who doesn't just survive rejection, but uses it as a launch pad to greatness. And that's why he can't stop thinking about you, not because you chased him back, but because you showed him what true strength looks like. You became unforgettable by simply becoming your best self. This is the kind of power that changes everything. The kind that frees you from the past and propels you into a future where you are the one in control, where your happiness and worth come from within, and no rejection can ever take that away.